Christians drink alcohol. Now, I'm not here to put anybody under the law of Moses. We're not justified by the keeping of the law, but nevertheless, there's a lot of good truth found in the Old Covenant and in the law of Moses. And so I'm going to be reading some scriptures from the book of Leviticus and something that happened that deals with alcohol. But before I do that, I want to make it clear that in New Covenant theology, I believe firmly that alcohol is not forbidden. You're allowed to drink alcohol. We should just be careful to avoid drunkenness, idolatry, and gluttony. We should do things in moderation. Now, in Leviticus, the book of Leviticus deals with the Levitical priesthood. Levitical means it comes from Levi, who was one of the sons of Jacob. And when God commanded Moses to make a tabernacle in the wilderness, Aaron was appointed as the high priest of that tabernacle and the priestly duties that went on there. So Aaron and his sons had the priesthood, and all the rest of the Levites were there to assist Aaron and his sons in their priestly duties. Okay, and so the tabernacle consisted of three sections. It was an outer court that contained the altar of burnt offerings, the brazen altar, where they did the animal sacrifices, and there were burning coals. They were commanded to keep that the brazen altar burning continually. The fire was to never go out. And then there was also a laver, which was a big brass bowl where the priests would wash their hands and arms, I guess, in after doing the animal sacrifices. And then inside there was a door. And inside that door was another section called the holy place. And in there were three pieces of furniture. There was the table of showbread, the candlestick, and the altar of incense. And then beyond that was the veil. And beyond the veil was the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant was. Now, I'm going to be talking about the altar of incense. Now, Aaron and his sons were ordained and authorized to minister at the brazen altar doing the sacrifices, and then also at the altar of incense. And what they would do, in fact, Aaron was commanded to do this every day. He was to take incense. He was to take a censer and put burning coals in it from the brazen altar, and then put incense on top of those coals, and then go to the altar of incense, and I'm guessing take that censer and lay it on the altar of incense, and that was like prayers going up before God, because that's what incense represents. And so in Leviticus 10, we see something happening with Nadab and Abihu, the two older sons of Aaron. They died, and after they died, Aaron's two younger sons took their places, and that would be Eleazar and Ithamar. Now, I'm getting to the point about alcohol and ministers. All right, so Aaron and his sons are the priests, and we know in New Covenant theology that we are a kingdom of priests. So everybody that's in Jesus is a priest. Jesus is our high priest, and we're all priests. Okay, and so you see the symbology there with Aaron and his sons. Now, I'm going to read Leviticus 10, 1, 2, and 3, and then elaborate a little bit more on this. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer, and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from the Lord, and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. Then Moses said unto Aaron, This is that the Lord spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. And so Nadab and Abihu, mechanically speaking, they were performing something they were allowed to do, but the way in which they did it was strange fire. It was profane. The word strange means profane, which means they weren't honoring the Lord. And sanctified, the word sanctified is also used in verse 3 here, where God is saying that if you're going to approach any priest that approach me is to be sanctified. And so sanctified, that's a common word used in New Covenant theology, and it means clean. That's the main thing it means, I believe. And so Nadab and Abihu, I believe, were not clean. They were not ceremonially clean to be bringing the incense. So it wasn't the fact that they were bringing incense to the altar of incense, it was the way in which they were doing it. And we see some evidence of that in what happens next. Now, in verses 4, 5, 6, and 7, it's dealing, in Leviticus 10, it's dealing with Moses talking to Aaron and his sons about the way in which to approach the Lord and things to do and what not to do. And then in verse 8, we see God speaking to Aaron. So first Moses is speaking to Aaron, and then God, the Lord, speaks to Aaron. And this is what the Lord says. Verse 8, 9, and 10. And the Lord spake unto Aaron, saying, Do not drink wine, nor strong drink, thou nor thy sons with thee, when ye go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations, and that ye may put difference between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean. And it's also verse 11. And that ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Lord hath spoken unto them by the hand of Moses. And so we see clearly, I believe, that God is telling Aaron the reason why this happened to Nadab and Abihu. They were drunk. They were ceremonially unclean, and they were irreverent. They weren't honoring the Lord, and so they weren't sanctified when they approached the Lord. And so the new covenant symbolism that we see here, that is shown to us, I think is pretty clear. If you are a minister and you're standing in a pulpit to minister to the congregation, you should not be drunk. In fact, you should probably avoid drinking alcohol at all before ministering. And I would even go so far as to say that even if you are going out to minister to people in a marketplace, like my wife Aham and I do mostly, that you should avoid drinking and obviously not getting drunk before going out to minister, because it would basically be the same thing, in my opinion, as a preacher standing in a pulpit ministering to the people. And so, again, you're not under the law, but I think it's wise to follow that rule, just to honor the Lord. And so I hope that this helps you to understand more of how to minister as a new covenant believer, and also how to see the old covenant and the law of Moses as a way of helping us understand our relationship with the Lord and how to maintain a holy, reverent fear of God.